We're now coming to you live with the Co-Ed 1 finals. I'm in the booth, Alexis Dubois alongside
Keon Cyrus.
And we have Lego My Flag going up against the Merge, and I think we're about to get kicked off right now. The first thing you need to know about this game is that Lego My Flag will be playing with only 5 players, 3 guys, 2 girls. They are missing a girl. The snap goes immediately to Jeff Rosenblatt. He's aiming towards Sanders Armand. The pass is incomplete. It was flipped up by Lara. Sanders tried to get his hand on it, and it was nearly intercepted by Jérôme Hovington.
Yeah, with Lego My Flag playing with only 5 individuals on the field for the Merge, they didn't ask for this 6v5, but again, they're going to have to play with the advantage up. And so for them, they just have to stay collected throughout their defense, especially their offense. So let's see how Jeff Rosenblatt is able to contain the defense of the Merge with only 4 offensive weapons.
Only 4. That being said, it has been done before. There was already a Co-Ed 1 final 1, 5 versus 6. Second down, 2nd and 10. Jeff Rosenblatt looking towards Sanders Armand. He had Sanders popping open on a 10 in across the middle of the field. Simply missed him. Yeah. The one thing which is critical when you're playing 5v6 is people will be open. You have no room for error. Mistakes like that are not something that can happen repeatedly.
Yeah, maybe the fact that Jeff Rosenblatt has played just now for his Division B final, maybe a bit tired or whatnot, but again, especially with being 5v6, like you said, there's going to be open opportunities, but it has to be quick in terms of him getting the ball out and being precise.
And a Division B final, with much respect, that was not a very closely contested game where Jeff didn't have much pressure on his shoulders, whereas now he needs to be the key if Lego My Flag want to come away with the victory. 3rd down, 3rd and 10. Jeff is looking deep towards Sanders. It's overthrown, and we're already coming up to 4th and 10.
Yeah, that was a ball that was open to Sanders Armand there, but maybe it's a mix of fatigue on either both Armand or Rosenblatt there, as it just played recently. But again, like we mentioned earlier, mistakes like that, if they want to win this at a 5v6 deficit, they have to be critical.
Mistakes are simply not allowed. Having played 5v6 before, I said it happened before. It was Kiss My End Zone against Ligro Cook. Kiss My End Zone won 5 players against 6. What helped us was we executed perfectly. We ran a lot of very short, high percentage concepts, slowed the game down, and that we were able to create something. However, what you really cannot allow yourself are those mistakes on open plays. Huge 4th down coming up early in the game. Rosenblatt takes the snap. He's looking towards his left. He flips his hip. It's thrown towards Paul Lapierre. That was Paul Lapierre over Coralie Leduc, a very good defender, but Paul will win that aerial matchup every single time.
Exactly, and finding Paul's a safety blanket there. Again, he's not playing snapper, it looks like, but again, just finding him on the mismatch there. And like you said, for 5v6 and playing short as a game for offense, that might be the play for Rosenblatt and company, but let's see if they actually apply that for the rest of this game.
And that's the big difference in co-ed, is you can create mismatches without being more players. You can still oppose someone who's 6'3" in front of someone who's 5'3". And regardless of the talent of the 2 players, that foot mismatch will give you an advantage. On 1st down, we saw a quick slant across the field to Kwesi Gordon-Mall. Those are the kind of plays I want to see more from Lego My Flag. The play call I'd go to time and time again would be triple slants. You can remove the backside hook, triple slants left, triple slants right. Those concepts still work despite being 5 players.
100% there. And also, they're not running deep routes with those triple slant concepts too. They're not going to get as tired. Yes, you have to make some cuts, but at least you're not going to be as tired when it comes to
That's a great point. Keep an eye out on these 2 girls for Lego My Flag. It is Lara Uzoka, and potentially Sarah Berbiche being the 2 female players. It's hot, it's humid in here. I think we're both sweating in the booth. Fatigue will become a factor. Routes will not be as crisp now as they will be late in the second half.
And again, that's for Lego My Flag to kind of keep their composure and not taking too much shots when it's unnecessary and playing more conservative. Unfortunately, that might not be the game plan that they want, but with the roster being only 5 individuals, 2 women and 3 men, you kind of have to, with the advantage that the Merge has with having an extra person on the field.
You're completely right. We now have 1st and goal, throwing to the back of the end zone towards Sarah Berbiche. There you had Marie-Joëlle Vandal in front of Berbiche. That is not a defender you want to test. She is lengthy. She has a fantastic vertical. I believe used to be a soccer goalkeeper. Can definitely go up for a ball like that.
If she was a soccer goalkeeper, she does cover a lot of ground there, and she ended up the season with 4 interceptions and 24 tackles for the Merge defense.
Having played against her, an explosive player, it seems unfair when people are fast, tall, and can jump. You need to be missing something, and she has all three. Second and goal, Rosenblatt with the ball in his hands, looking towards his left. Nearly picked off by Brady Hovington, but instead it's a flag on the play.
Yeah, I think Paula Pierre did have an extra step there. That's why the merge defenders were more pointing as before the ball was snapped.
So we think this was a false start on the offense. Let's wait and see. Referees pick up the cones. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 backwards. Good call. False start on the offense. Downs will be repeated, I believe. So we have a second goal now or third and goal?
I think it is that would
Yeah, we see 2 fingers up in the air. Second and goal from the 10. Essentially a 2-point convert. What are you dialing up?
Again, like you said, the triple slant concept, perhaps. You don't necessarily have to go straight into the end zone right away, but seeing if you could maybe get a mismatch, maybe Paula Pierre or Coralie Leduc, or seeing Kwesi Gordon Mall, he's running
with his
out
speed,
there.
and this is going immediately picked off by Jérôme Hovington, makes the first man miss. He's rushing towards the end zone. Kwesi's tracking him down, but he will not get there in time. Touchdown, pick 6, the merge strike first. Hovington takes it back for 6.
So that is not something for let go my flag, but great anticipation by Hovington there. It looked like they almost Paul Lapierre was about to run a slant in to attack Aurélie Leduc, but Hovington was there to anticipate that ball and run it back there. And credits to him, running full speed with Kwesi Gordon Mall behind him and getting into the end zone.
I think that shows you how fast Hovington is. You look at him and you don't say, oh my God, this is a speedster. But Kwesi Gordon Mall is a former track star and one of the fastest players in the league. So to be able to maintain that 1 yard gap on him, truly credits to Hovington. We're now up 6-0 for the merge, trying to go and make this an 8-point game, a 2-point conversion attempt. Reeves takes the ball, throws it towards Hovington, who's in the backfield. Hovington tries to make Berbiche miss, throws it back to Reeves, passes incomplete. The score remains 6-0. What lessons should Lego My Flag be taking away from that first drive, and what is there to attack in this merge defense?
Everything was working well until the pick 6. Honestly, whenever they went deep, it didn't seem to work. But when they were working it short and moving the ball down the field, that was working. Unfortunately, Hovington for the merge made a great play on the ball there. So perhaps just keep it as short and simple, moving the ball down and taking as much time on the clock as they can.
I think that's a big key you just pointed to there. Slowing the game down. The less drives, the better. You want to make this a one-possession game and keep it a one-possession game as long as possible. Jeff Rosenblatt has the ball. He looks over the middle of the field, complete to Kwesi. Kwesi makes a first defender miss, a second miss, but cannot get past the sticky hands of Hovington. Tackles made, but not before a 15, 20-yard gain. That's exactly what Lego My Flag need. Short passes to players with yak potential. 2 players, Zalipski and Kwesi, both very fast. They can make a defender miss.
Exactly, and that was a prime example of Gordon Mall being open there on a short route and running it for a bunch of yards after the catch. And like you said, that's basically going to have to be the bread and butter for Rosenblatt and company to keep this a close game and like bringing it down to the wire. And like you said, less possessions, the better for them.
Exactly. You want to play boring football. Short passes, long waits. Let's see if that's what they're waiting for. They seem to be going deep on second down towards Lazaru Koyashi. Had a step on Brady Ohanessian, but could not reel it in for 6.
So in that case, it was a great play, honestly, by Laura Zoka. Unfortunately, the ball was either just a tad over her head or a bit out of her reach. But again, Jeff Rosenblatt could make those passes in this kind of situation. But again, you can't rely on them too much because of the fact that you're 5v6.
Exactly, and that was wide open. The ball was placed, yes, a step ahead of Lara, but also in a safe position.
Exactly.
That pass was either dropped, a touchdown. There's no scenario where the defender's making a break on it. No issues throwing that kind of pass. Rosenblatt has the snap, looking towards Kwesi Gordon Mall. Caught and tackled immediately by Laurie Ouellet, a gain of 7 yards on the play.
Great stuff by Gordon Mall there. Great tackle by Laurie, making it very third and manageable for Lego My Flag. So let's see what the concept they come up with. But again, as much as you would want it to be flashy, they're 5v6 and keeping it boring, whether it's your triple slants or having some hooks there or whatnot, or a drag. Something just, honestly, with the fast receivers, the men and women that they have here, just getting the first down and kind of working it between inside their 10.
That's a question I do have. If you look at this merge defense, a lot of very talented players. That being said, no one's exceptionally tall. I think Brady standing there at maybe 5'11", 6 foot on a good day is the tallest defender. Here we have a second down looking towards Kwesi at the back of the end zone. The ball is overthrown. And if you look at the 2 players that Lego My Flag have on the bench Paul Lapierre, a tall, imposing man, Sanders, an aerial threat. I'm curious what the logic is to have speed in the lineup instead of size.
Maybe it could be a fact that they're both fatigued. I'm not sure, as they both have just played. But again, I feel like there is going to be a point in the lineup where both Paul Lapierre and Sanders Armand are both on the field, especially to potentially get that mismatch of height wherever they're on the field, because they basically have it wherever they stand.
Especially if both of them on the field, you 100% have the height mismatch present. That being said, let's turn our attention down the field level. It is 4th and 3, a pivotal play coming up. Rosenblatt takes the snap. He looks to his left, surveying the field, throws towards Kwesi. The ball is dropped. Turnover on downs. Unfortunately, the margin for error for Lego My Flag is just about 0. And with these small mistakes, one drop here, one drop there, they're unable to score on their second possession.
Guatemala really did a delayed in on that, and unfortunately he wasn't able to come up with it. He had a chance on the bobble to catch it back, but unfortunately he wasn't able to recover it, giving the Merge, I think, their first offensive drive fully in the game.
Yes, they've only had one play on offense. It was a 2-point conversion attempt, which was unsuccessful. We have a high-powered offense here for the Merge, quarterbacked by Marc-André Reeves. Keep an eye on the likes of Laurie Ouellette, a speedy receiver, Jérôme Hovington, a name FPFers will know very well. Let's see where they're looking on first down. This is towards Sarah Maud. Passes complete, tackle made immediately by Lara. That being said, when you're playing 5v6, in theory, all hooks will work every single time.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, like, what for an offense, what do you do in that situation? And I played in some 5v6 moments, and again, as much as it's boring, 5v6, all hooks tends to be open. As long as your quarterback makes the right reads, which Reeves is the type of quarterback to make the right reads there, he can make it work.
And there we have Laurie catching the pass on second down, tries to make a defender miss, but is unsuccessful. That being said, still a gain of 10 yards, first down at the 10. When I played 5v6 is you need to have the other quarterback make a mistake. You need to have a rush you can get in his head. You need to take some passing lanes away. It's all about making the quarterback get off his first read and then making one mistake. You need to have the other quarterback make a singular mistake in the ball game, and then you make none. That is how you win 5v6. We're looking over the middle of the field, completed towards Coralie Leduc. You had Jérôme standing in the back of the end zone all alone. He could have chosen his pick of receivers. Multiple are open. We have second and goal.
So in this situation, how would you defend it if you are Lego My Flags, especially Alex Zalipski, a great fast rusher there. But again, you have Marc-André Reeves, who is very mobile and can make the right reads. What do you do for a defense for Lego My Flag?
For me, it's the keys just jump everything. You play essentially a corner lock where you'll lock the outside corridors, one free safety over top. And now here we have third and goal. We'll come back to your question in a second. Reeves is dancing, and there he threw over the middle of the field, perhaps an ill-advised throw. So what you saw there is exactly what you want to do, is you want to jump the first read, and then force the quarterback to come to their second or third read, make an off-platform throw, and you tell your defenders, we will get beat, so it doesn't matter if you get baited on a hook and go. Jump the hook. If there's a 5% chance you can jump a hook for an interception, that's fine. I'm okay with the 95% risk of a touchdown. You make, and exactly what you saw there from Sanders Armand, he was actually on the team that played 5v6 in the Code 1 finals a few years ago. He saw an outside hook and immediately bailed on that, and in all honesty, could have stabbed that one hand to come away with the pick. So what you saw right there, for a very long-winded answer to your question, is you take risks and you gamble that they will make one more mistake than you.
That was a great anticipation by Sanders Armand there. Unfortunately, couldn't get a pick there, but right concept, as you
and
said.
And forcing a fourth down here, thrown over the middle of the field. Touchdown, Hovington. He's asking for the flag. He won't get it, but it doesn't matter. He has 6 points.
Always with a great grab there.
He has great hands in traffic, a very, very reliable receiver. They're now up 12-0, going for 2, just really trying to put the hammer down. In this scenario, would you go for 1 or 2?
I know that they've been more successful on 2s, and the ability of having a quarterback like Marc-André Reeves running the ability to run the ball on for 2. So I don't hate this decision, especially it's a 5v6. So for the Merge, they probably feel as if they have the ability to take more risks. And going for 2 is not really risky, especially with an 11-0 lead, or 12-0.
12-0 lead. We'll get the scoreboard updated for you momentarily. Here we see a 2-quarterback play, and Reeves is scrambling and fires towards a wide-open Coralie Leduc, who, despite the small bobble, reels it in a 14-0 lead. Lego My Flag, it's going to sound obvious, need to score now. It doesn't matter how fast they score, but they need 6 points. They need to prove they can punch it in.
Yeah, exactly. And again, they have roughly 5 minutes left on the clock, but scoring now is basically pivotal for them.
What
And-
I'd
Yep.
what I'd like to see is they're playing essentially like 5v5 with 2 receivers flexed out to the right, 1 receiver isolated wide left. What that's allowing this merge defense to do is isolate in more on each individual receiver. If you can go to bunch sets, trips left, or even have your receiver play in the slot instead of out wide, you'll have an easier time creating high lows and leveraging defenders at multiple levels. So let's see if they come to trips plays later on. This is a very normal bunch on first down. Kwesi elevates in front of Reeves for the catch. That's the kind of concepts which will work when you start layering the defense at 2 or 3 levels. It doesn't matter if you're 5v6, because in that individual zone, you're 3 versus 2. So that number 5v6 becomes irrelevant.
Yeah, and that was a great ball by Rosenblatt for only the hands that Gordemal was able to catch that with. And again, keeping it safe. They've been playing majority safe, and unfortunately with a pick 6 or whatnot, but they just got to keep it up, especially with clock slowly winding down. But they shouldn't be in any rush.
They shouldn't be in any rush. They just need to prove to themselves they can score. We're looking deep now towards Sanders. Armand bobbled, caught out of bounds. Hovington with the PD, but again, a riskier ball. Was that risk needed when you had Lara dragging right across Rosenblatt's face, who could have also made the grab?
Yeah, I don't think I agree with you. With that, could have been luckily the fact that the ball was overthrown to be incomplete, and the fact, but again, there was Laura Zoga underneath as well as Gordon Mall running the opposite way. That could have been short off there, but luckily for them, no interception. But again, can't take too many risks.
Rosenblatt's a quarterback who does like the deep ball, who likes stretching the field, who has a nice arm and likes to show it off. Unfortunately, this is the kind of game where you need to show off your patience, your FPF intellect, and those are skills which can help you slightly more than your deep ball placement. Let's see if he's going to make this switch. We hear of second down, aiming towards Paul Lapierre. He had a very small window on the sideline, just missed. 3rd and 10, getting behind the sticks now is tricky.
Yeah, at this point, I would say, again, Rosenblatt's been going a bit more intermediate to deep range. So honestly, if he's able to get a shorter route to make it maybe 4th and 5, 4th and 4, very manageable. Because again, you're going to end up going for it on 4th down, so you might as well get some yards now and
Cut
make
the
it at
sticks
4.
in 2. I
Exactly.
completely agree. And that's the change we'd like to see coming from this Lego My Flag offense. 3rd and 10. Rosenblatt holds the ball, fires towards Lara. Brady was on her heels. Incomplete. 4th down. 4th and 10. We're still 2 minutes left now in the first half. We haven't even entered pro clock yet. However, is this 4th and ball game?
I would say no, but at the same time too, it's not unless the merge scores before half. If they do, then it's kind of tough in a sense. But basically, you want to play it as if it's 4th and done at a point.
They're still alive. That being said, they need to prove to themselves they can score. What I would like to see here, for example, on the right of your screen, we have fly from the wide receiver, a 10 out from Kwesi, and that 10 out, pulling the receiver deeper, should be open. We here have Paul Lapierre flashing over the middle of the field. Jeff throws his hands up, grasps his forehead. He missed Paul. He was open. Turnover on downs, 1:40 left. Now, this Lego My Flag defense needs to stall.
Yeah, 100% there. That is a throw that Rosenblatt would love to take back because the concept worked. Gordon Mall was able to take Brady Ohanissian away from the middle, which led Paul Lapierre wide open. Unfortunately, wasn't able to connect with him, and now it's up to the defense of Lego My Flag to get a stop, a much-needed stop now.
And I think Jeff knows that. When you saw him, he hit his forehead with the football. He knew he had the touchdown. That's when he'll regret. We have here Reeves looking towards Coralie Reduk, flying over the middle of the field, and Kwesi Gordon Mall crashing in right behind her. I think if that ball was a foot higher and perhaps on target for Coralie, Kwesi had hands on it.
Yeah, 100%. He was step for step, but again, leaving the middle of the field there is a bit risky. I know it's Coralie Leduc there, and maybe Kwesi feels much better with the matchup, but still, you can't leave the middle of the field open as much as Kwesi has the speed to kind of catch up, but you don't want to play that gamble all game, especially playing 5v6.
I think the issue is when you're 5v6 is every single play is a gamble. You need to leave someone open inherently because you're 5v6. And then you're trying to jump something. Hovington's crossing the field. Reeves evades Zalipski. Passes complete to Hovington. He makes Kwesi miss, and he runs it in for the touchdown. It is 20-0. Hovington with his 2nd touchdown of the game. 2nd or 3rd?
I think think that is his second. No, that might
That's
be his
his third.
Yeah, his third
Pick
overall.
6, touchdown, and then the contested 4th down grab.
Yeah.
Covington making an early case for that MVP award.
100% there. Unfortunately, Kwesi Gordon was there, but unfortunately wasn't able to get the flags. And Covington was able to once again run it back for a touchdown, which he already has 3, like we mentioned. Early case for MVP.
Very solid case. The good news for Lego My Flag is a minute 30 left on the clock. 2-point conversion attempt coming up for the merge. Reeves dancing towards his right, firing towards the back of the end zone. Lucky Willett elevates, and she stamps those 2 feet down. The conversion is good. A great toe tap catch from Lori.
Yeah, we're going to see on the replay here. She makes the catch at the high point and is able to get her toes down before the out of bounds line in the back. So there we see.
And made it look easy. Goes up 1 foot.
Yeah.
Oh, not 2 feet.
But
Want
she
to
got the
show
one.
off. I know. I'm still a believer. I still think it should be 2 feet. It is 1. This is my dated belief. She would have been good for 2 if she could have tapped the other one. I'm sure that had the rule still been in effect, should have got the second one down.
100%.
Now, the good news is, a minute 30 on the clock. There is still time for Lego My Flag to prove to themselves they're able to score against this merge defense. Jeff is rolling to his left, drags him across the field, firing towards Zalipski, and just past the outstretched arms of his speedy receiver. He had a step on Covington, and Brady wasn't quite making it over the top.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Lego My Flag and Jeff because Zalipski did have to step on them both. But again, you have a minute 24 left. It was not a bad idea to go a deep shot, but again, you have some time to kind of work it through. But again, it makes it second and long, which again, slowly with the time management with a minute 24, kind of need to move the ball.
They do need to move the ball. Very astute observation. Some yards would be helpful here on second down. Let's see what Jeff can dial up. He calls Kwesi's number, who tries to make a first defender miss. He makes 2 miss. He tries to get around Reeves. He does as well. He tries to juke, and finally Laurie yanks the flag. But he made there, I think, 1, 2, 3 very good merge defenders miss, and that's the threat that Kwesi can pose.
Exactly, and great job from Kwesi Gordon from getting around those defenders from the merge and now making it within the 10-yard, I think. It looks like they're at the 10-yard line, Lego My Flag, with a minute 15. So, again, getting points on the board is what they need.
And time is of no concern. If anything, there's too much time on the clock, and they'd love to run some of this time off. It'd be interesting to see, do you try to complete a 2-yard hook to run 40 seconds off the clock? I think they just want the points at this point. But it's 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line. 4 cracks from the 10. Holds the ball towards Kwesi. Another drop.
Yeah, I think Gordon wanted the ball a bit earlier on that because he was kind of just following the eyes of Rosenblatt. And once Rosenblatt threw it to him, I guess he just either wasn't ready for it or whatnot. But like you were saying earlier, like would they run a 2-yard hook to waste off time? I thought that could have been a very possibility because, again, they're still in range of scoring if they get 2 or 3 yards. And at least it limits the amount of time that the merge would have if they scored to get the ball and score on themselves.
Because the merge, even with a minute 6v5, I'd like them to score in a minute. I think they'd be the betting favorites with 50 seconds on the clock. Here we're looking back towards Kwesi, who's been the leading receiver. And is he? Yes, he gets out of bounds before he's tackled, stopping the clock. I think he actually might have rather gotten tackled inbounds in that scenario. We now have 3rd down at the 4-yard line, 54 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, I think it looked like his main focus was reaching to get the yards, but again, this is momentum allowed him to be pushed out of bounds there. So again, it's 3rd down. They're at their 4, so they have 2 plays. You're dialing up, honestly, you don't have to go straight back of the end zone ins or whatnot, but having Paula Pierre and Sanders Armand both on the sideline right now,
is at the back of the end zone, they have the height mismatch. They can go up for a ball. It's what they do fantastically. Jeff scrambling to his left, throws towards Kwesi. Pass is incomplete. Came down out of bounds. And here on 4th down, you do see Sanders jogging in, potentially for Zalipski.
Yeah, unfortunately for Gordon, he wasn't able to get his feet in bounds there. It was the ball that was perfectly where he could have been, but again, he was already towards the back of the end zone. Was tough, but having Armand now add some height there, so maybe that could even if Armand doesn't get the ball here, it at least focuses the defensive attention towards him, like maybe it leaves a one-on-one for one of his other receivers.
Because as a defender, you kind of naturally draw your attention to someone like Sanders, has had an illustrious FPF career, makes a living on contested catches. He is the kind of player you want here in the red zone. Let's see, 4th down coming up. Rosenblatt takes the ball. He's looking towards Sanders. He throws towards the back of the end zone. Lara has the catch. Lego My Flag are on the board. It's 22-6. And I believe we have a 2-point convert incoming. That's exactly what the doctor ordered before the half. A little confidence booster, a nice ball layered at the back of the end zone, and a perfect catch, making it look easy.
Exactly, and getting a score before half, honestly, for Lego My Flag was the #1 priority, and it looked like Ohanisien really focused on Sanders Armand, which, again, that could have been the whole point of him getting on the field, which left Lara at the back of the end zone for an easy catch.
I think it was brain games there. You see Sanders come on, you obviously give him the attention he deserves. He's one of the better receivers in the league. Jeff realized that, stared him down. The defense stepped up, which left the completion to the back of the end zone. 2-point convert now incoming of Rosenblatt, firing towards the back of the end zone. That's Marie-Joëlle Vandal with the interception on the convert. The 2-point is no good. Sturdy hands, and there you see her frame. She imposed herself in front of someone like Kwesi. She's not intimidated by someone who, yes, has a great vertical. She knows she can jump with any guy on this field.
Yeah, and she honestly made the right coverage there. Again, you're gonna see them. They're gonna go towards like the middle of the end zone, and for her frame and also their ability to read the ball perfectly well there made it pretty easy for her to jump with anyone there, like you mentioned.
Exactly. 44 seconds. Lego My Flag need a stop. This pass is completed towards Sarah Maud, tackled inbounds. Leo's winding his arm. That means time continues to roll. 35 seconds counting. 30. Let's look towards the sidelines here. If I'm the quarterback, I'm dialing up a quick out route. Look towards Sarah Maud and Laurie to run quick outs. The pass is completed towards Victor in the middle of the field. Tackle made immediately by Sarah Berbiche. Clock has now stopped and will recommence on the ready-to-play whistle.
Yeah, getting the first down there was key. And again, 23 seconds basically until the whistle is being blown gives the Merge, honestly, enough time where you get a few plays before the end of the game.
And the clock has restarted when you heard that whistle. Reeves is now looking deep towards Sarah Maud. Caught! Touchdown! Kwesi undershot. Sarah Maud went up for it. It is 28-6. Kwesi thought he had a line on that one, and Reeves just put a bit of extra mustard on it and got it over the men. Oh.
Yeah, great hands there by Sarah Maud Mathieu right there. Kwesi Gordon-Mall thought he was able to jump that route perfectly, just over the outreached arms of him in the air. Great ball by Reeves and great catch by Sarah Maud.
That being said, if I'm Lego My Flag, that's the kind of play that makes me enthusiastic. Kwesi, a fantastic player. Yes, he missed that time. You see 2 hands on his head now, slightly frustrated. If Reeves throws that ball 3 more times, it will be picked at least once. And that's what Lego My Flag need. They need Reeves to make a mistake, and that's the kind of the ball where you can see a mistake being made. We now have 3 quarterbacks. Fire towards the back of the end zone, towards Sarah Maud. It is dropped. We have Victor, I believe there, Victor Boutin, who did not throw the nicest spiral known to man. That being said, Sarah Maud would like that catch back.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest spiral, but again, when you are open like that, you do want to catch that. So unfortunately for Sarah Maud, it didn't come up with. 16.3 seconds left for Lego My Flag. It is 28-6, but they have some speedsters. They have the ability to move up the chains to potentially get another score. Again, the last thing they would want to do is to give up the ball back to the Merge in this time crunching half.
Who scored 28 points in the first half. Now, interesting, the speedsters are off the field and size is on the field. We're looking towards Sarah Berbiche. Catch the ball, goes out of bounds for a 9-yard gain. Clock will stop. 13 seconds. That's the perfect play. The Merge are playing a soft prevent defense. Take what the defense gives you. Eat those 9 yards.
Yeah, if they end up doing again the Merge, if they play soft again, I expect Rosenblatt to actually make the same basically read to get out of bounds. You have enough time for 2, potentially 3 plays, depending on how the defense is covering Lego My Flag.
I'd feel confident about getting 3 plays in here. Rosenblatt's not a quarterback who likes to scramble. He has his usual 2-step drop, 3-step drop, and gets the ball out on rhythm. I think 4 seconds of play is invisible. We have 13 seconds now on the clock. Complete the Paul Lapierre, tackled out of bounds. And that was, we went from 13 to 10 seconds, 3 seconds of play. They have 4 plays left to continue running them at 3 seconds a clip.
Yeah, exactly. That was perfect. Paul Lapierre was able to backpedal to get out of bounds before Hovington was able to deflag him. And again, they cut down the field in a very short amount of time. They are roughly at they're 17 yards.
They're 17 yards out. This has been perhaps their best drive. Let's see if they can cap it off with a touchdown. But the efficiency they've shown has been impressive. You have a bunch set on the right, pass completed towards Sanders, gets out of bounds. This is something for me which is encouraging. They, instead of bunching up the receivers, put them on the outsides. They're stretching the Merge defense. You had a bunch set to your right. It's that kind of creativity and forcing the Merge into scenarios they're not used to, which will allow Lego My Flag to create opening, create separation on offense.
But as a defense, do you play more tighter, especially to the boundaries, because you know that they're going to be playing out of bounds, or do you let them kind of get that as you have the advantage?
Great question. My general call is to leave the middle of the field open and dare you catch the ball in bounds, and we'll see what happens with the time. Rosenbach looking, end zone, intercepted by Hovington. He came over. He made the play that Kwesi Gordon-Mall wanted to make on the Saramo touchdown and snatched that ball away from the waiting hands of Paul Lapierre, who thought he had 6 points in his mitts.
Yeah, the ball initially was there, but Hovington made a great play for his second interception of the half, giving Marc-Andre Reeves and company 1.9 seconds on the clock.
1.9 seconds. You're up 28-6. You're 6v5. Do you just need this one out, or do you want to check it?
From knowing how Marc-Andre Reeves plays, he's going to play it out.
I have no doubt he's going to play it. I'm saying, would you play it out?
Me personally, depending on how I'm feeling about my opponents, probably not. But again, the championship game, you didn't ask to play 5v6. You're just given the cards that was to you.
The 5v6 has nothing to do with the merge. They're playing their game. That's all they have to do. And trust me, I know they want this championship. I've been chatting with them on the sidelines. Reeves is trying to go for his second of the day. Hovington had that one, perhaps a step towards the end zone. It comes up incomplete. And now we're going to be turning halftime here. We're heading back up to the booth. I'm Alexis Dubois with the Co-Ed 1 Finals alongside
Keon Cyrus.
And the score is 28-6 at the half. If you're Lego My Flag, how are you getting ready? And what are you telling yourselves to come out firing in this second half?
Again, you're going to feel that you have the opportunity to be more selective with your plays, being more aggressive. And the thing is, you could take some shots sometimes, but again, you can't feel the fact that you're going to keep throwing it deep or whatnot because you see that the deficit is that much of a gap. Taking your time there and making the right reads, as Rosenbach has shown to be doing in the first half. It is tough playing with a big deficit, but again, you can't be looking at the deficit too much and letting it get in your head.
So for me, my key would be just insane levels of aggressivity on defense. You have to view it as every drive should be a one-play touchdown or an interception. Right? At a certain level, they can no longer slow the game down. So if you're not slowing the game down, you need to go the other extreme. If you see a hook, jump it. Jump the first move of a double move and see what you can provoke. Leave the fly going down the sideline open. Keep it there from the corner of your eye and see if you can bait that throw like Kwesi tried to do on the Saramo touchdown, because at this point you need to create something. You just want to get this down to a 14-point spread when you have the ball at the end, and then you tell yourself, 14 points. I can do this with a touchdown, an onside kick, and a 2-point convert.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like you mentioned, the good points on defense for Lego My Flag. They have to be aggressive in that aspect because, again, the merge could either play conservative or they could go deep with the advantage, with the lead, and both the amount of people on the field. So, again, playing aggressive. And, again, if you don't get the interception like Kwesi didn't get, unfortunately, that's fine. But it shows that you're willing to risk the fact that you're trying to get an interception on those plays.
So I completely agree, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the way Kwesi played that touchdown. He's trying to make a play, and that's what you owe yourself. We've talked a lot about Lego My Flag and how they can adjust. Let's turn our attention to the merge for a second. Who've had a fantastic regular season, 9-1, top seed, most points scored, least points conceded. They very much deserve to be up 28-6 in this championship game, regardless of how many players their opponents have. If you're being hypercritical, is there anything this merge team can change in the second half? Or if they dial up exactly what they did in the first, is that enough?
I think it is enough. If they want, maybe on defense, to maybe be a bit aggressive, a bit more, if they really feel like they want to. But I feel like overall they've been playing really well offensively and defensively with what they've been given in the situations, especially making stops and getting interceptions.
They've done a great job taking what's being given to them.
Yeah.
They haven't seemed greedy. They haven't chucked it deep. They haven't gone, okay, let's go for verticals. Let's try out our arms. Let's show off for the cameras. And now we're turning our attention back down to field level. They have played a conservative defense. They have an extraordinarily talented squad. I think what really makes this merged team the class of the Co-Ed 1 division is the quality of their female players. We've talked about Marie-Joëlle Vandal, who has speed, who has range, but then you have a player like Laurie Ouellette, who's shifty, who is fast, who makes every single catch you want of her. Simply put, they're creating mismatch not only with the likes of Jérôme, who's one of the better players in FPF, but also they're always confident that their female players will win 1v1, and that level of confidence is a fantastic feeling. Now let's see, we're starting the second half. Reeves takes the ball, goes towards Coralie Leduc, tries to make a defender miss. She's tackled by Sarah Berbiche. Another 10-yard gain, 7-yard gain, 2nd and 2.
Yeah, with the women on the merge roster, they are exceptionally talented individually, and it fits the way that Marc-Andre Reeves plays as a quarterback. Having reliable hands and running great routes, especially on offense. But don't overlook them on defense. Sarah Maud Mathieu as a great rusher in her own right, having, I think, 11 rushes, 11 rushes, sacks, my apologies, in the regular season.
And we see have a false start from Marie-Joëlle Vandal. We were slightly too complimentary. I'm very sorry. We didn't mean to jinx anyone. But you're completely right. Sarah Maud, I think, is the most underrated rusher in FPF. She actually played with me in men's Division 3 during the winter when Chris Reve was playing quarterback. Those two know each other well. And she was a good rusher by Division 3 standards. So regardless of what division she's playing in, she never misses a flag. And the second she gets close, you know she's going to make the sack. We now have second and longer now going towards Lucky. Makes the catch, tries to make Sanders miss, darting down the sidelines. That's a nice 35-yard gain.
Yeah, honestly, great job for Marc-Andre Reeves in terms of stretching the field in different levels, having his receivers run short, intermediate, and Laurie looked like she just ran basically a hook and go there, got the space from La Ruzoka, and honestly, right before the opportunity for Sanders Armand to make a play there for the ball.
That's why we keep on talking about the mistake and forcing Reeves into creating, throw he'd regret. I've played with Reeves. He doesn't make a lot of those throws. So yes, you're trying to play a numbers game. You're trying to play a statistics game. That being said, not likely that he's going to make one of those errors. Here you see Joël running across the field, passes towards Laurie. Again, we were slightly too complimentary about the hands. The pass was dropped.
That was a great rush by Alexandre Zalipsky. Even though Marc-Andre Reeves felt like he was dancing with him a bit, but Zalipsky was there toe for toe, which made the throw, even though Laurie Ouellette had the ball in her hands there, it wasn't as easy, especially with the rush there.
It just made an easy play that bit harder, and I think Zalipsky does deserve credit for his rushing. When you see the combination of the defense takes away the first read, plus Zalipsky gets in quick, that's when you see this Lego My Flag defense at their best. Here we go, immediately towards Luka, picked off by Kwesi Omoro, running down the sidelines. He returns this for 6, touchdown, Lego My Flag. We've been talking about it all game long. They need a mistake. Is that the mistake that's going to get this offense firing and get this Lego My Flag team back in the game?
If there was a play for that to description, 100% yes. Kwesi Guatemala jumping that route perfectly, and even with the little stutter on Marc-Andre Reeves running it back and running for the touchdown there, that could be the start. There's under 17 minutes left in this game. It's a 16-point deficit. But again, like we said at half, especially what you said, get the game to 14. You had the onside with your timeouts. Let's kind of work towards that. One more stop could work this. They're going for 2 to make this a 14-point deficit.
14 points is what they need. They need to get the ball in their hands down 14. And I think Kwesi deserves credit for the play he just made there. Not only was it jumping the route, it was choosing to leave the receiver open, knowing he could jump the route. A fantastic play by a savvy FPF vet. Sanders Armand wide open at the back of the end zone. We see a flag coming from Leo, taps his head, illegal participation, 2-point convert is no good. Sanders is going to regret that one. He had roughly a hectare of separation.
Yeah, unfortunately for Sanders Armand, he wasn't able to keep his feet in bounds before the ball got to him. And I think Braden Ohanessian knew from the get-go as he pointed towards the boundaries that Sanders was out.
That's a lot of confidence in the refs. Brady's savvy. I'm sure he knew. I'm sure he was confident. And Leo's a great official who will always spot those calls. We now have a 16-point ball game. Reeves is looking deep towards Sarah Maud. Backpedaling tackle made by Kwesi. There you saw Kwesi getting a bit greedy. You had Berbiche covering Vandal on the sideline. Kwesi tried to jump up and make a play, thinking about a second pick 6, and instead left Sarah Maud open over top.
100% there, like you said, Alexi. But the thing is, like you said earlier, they have to keep with this aggressive pressure, unfortunately. Yes, he got the pick 6 on the last defensive play, but he has to keep going. Not only him, but the rest of the defense has to play really aggressive. So if they let up plays like that, it's not the end of the world because
You're completely right. And completely right. The merge now with the ball. First down, looking towards the back of the end zone. Hovington just adds one more touchdown to his MVP case. And now the interception is quickly forgotten. Pick 6. Who? The merge are up 36-12.
Yeah, La Ruzoka was just fingertips from them, but Marc-Andre Reeves with a perfect ball over her fingers right into the hands of Hovington for his 4th touchdown overall of the game.
I think what I think what Reeves does best as a quarterback is the layering of passes. He does an exceptional job of getting over the first layer of defenders and fitting in passes between between that first level and deeper defenders. 2-point conversion attempt. Hovington coming back. Interception made by Lara Uzoka. A great break on the ball. Those are the plays which give this Lego My Flag team confidence. More of that is a great sign.
Yeah, even though that was for a conversion play, great play by Lara there for getting the interception there. They're going to have to keep it up on their normal defensive plays. But again, now with the offense down by 22, have to kind of speed it up a bit. As much as your defense is playing very aggressive and they got a pick six, but now it got nullified with the touchdown by Hovington, Rosenblatt has to realize the clock is not on his side.
The clock is very much his enemy. They need one more stop on defense. And obviously to score every single drive. That easy. Going deep towards Zalipsky. And again, just inches past his outstretched fingertips. But Hovington was matching his friend Zalipsky down the sideline stride for stride.
Yeah, I liked about that ball was that it was a bit more on the outside. So even though Hovington was there step for step, the only way that ball would have been caught is if, one, it was a bit shorter off, and also it would have been on the outside for Zalipsky to hold it in, where Hovington would have had a much difficult chance, especially because he was running alongside him.
You're completely right. They're taking a shot every single set of downs, and that was a safe ball. It was an incomplete pass or a touchdown. You're okay with that risk every single time. This pass is towards Grace. Kwesi stabs it with one hand. He's showing off. Tackle made by Brady.
Random one-hand catch by Kwesi there. A bit dangerous in a sense, because if he didn't fully come up down with that, Ohanian
Brady was waiting for
yeah,
that.
exactly. Brady was right behind him there. So credits to Kwesi for catching that. And look, now they're still manageable. They're around the 16-yard line. And again,
moving quickly. This is what you wanted to see from the Lego My Flag offense 3 possessions ago. That being said, they're looking good now, and they can still get to that mythical 14-point number. First down, Rosenblatt takes a snap, fires the out and in to Zalipsky, tries to make Corali miss, cannot make Hovington miss. First down on the play, first and goal. Those kinds of double moves where you're isolating a single defender against your shifty receiver are a very efficient way, regardless of the numbers on the field.
Yeah, great job from Zalipsky for moving the ball up there. But Rosenblatt actually had Lara, who ran like a seam or a very late corner as the snapper there. So that might be something to look up in the future. But again, great job for making it at their 5-yard line with short field to work with for Lego My Flag.
Second down, second and goal. Jeff fires towards Lara, who clearly called for the ball, reaching, outstretching, touchdown, Lego My Flag. The score is now 18-34, a huge 2-point convert incoming to make this a 14-point game.
Yeah, so great job from Lara from reaching. Brady wasn't able to get the flag, especially with Lara literally dipping her hips a bit low so Brady couldn't reach. So again, these 2 points are very pivotal to make it the key 14 points that we've been talking about all game long.
Lara's a fantastic player, won the Women's A championship with Ice Cold, I believe, earlier today. I think she has a very similar profile to Laurie Ouellette. She has that same burst, reliable hands, and then those moves to make a defender miss after the field. A very similar profile, in my opinion. We have a 2-point convert coming. Cannot stress the importance of this play enough. Jeff Rosenblatt trying to claw his team back into the game. Fires towards Kwesi. The catch is made. It's a 14-point game. Don't hold your breath, but this Lego My Flag team is a stop away from making this very interesting.
100%. Great anticipation there from Guatemala to make the catch over Coralie Leduc. And great job for Rosenblatt for identifying the matchup there. Yes, Hovington was kind of spying it, but because he was playing on the inside, it allowed a straight ball from Guatemala to be caught as he ran like basically a seam there.
And don't let Kwesi's height fool you. He has a fantastic vertical and plays far, far taller than he is. First down the merge. Reeves drops that pass. I think he was looking towards Coralie Leduc, and then he got a flashback of Kwesi breaking in on that for a pick 6. Tried to pull it back, and it slipped out of his hands. Was Coralie open on that play?
She was, but I also saw number 3, Sarah Berbiche, right there too. So maybe he anticipated that, but not from Kwesi, but from Sarah. Because if that ball was thrown, Sarah was right there with her speed that she jumped that pass. That could have been in the second pick 6.
They're making Reeves think. Right? It's a silly thing to say, and he's an extraordinarily wise quarterback, but just being able to make him wait a second and think is all you really need. And here, second down, another incomplete pass. Where this Lego My Flag defense at their best is when they take away the first read, maybe the second, and then Zalipski is right on the heels of Reeves and forced him into a very difficult throw towards his snapper, Victor Boutin.
Yeah, exactly. And that is from Lego My Flag. That's what they need. And as a former teammate of Marc-Andre Reeves, what do you expect him to come up with on this third down?
In all honesty, I think he'd just come up with all hooks. He very much believes in the mentality of splitting the sticks in two. There's 5 defenders. He has 2 hooks on his right, one of which will be open. He doesn't listen to me. He ran for, I believe, a 12-hook concept, so 2 12 hooks, forcing the defenders to split. They left Hovington open. That was a mistake. He made them pay. 2 drops. Who remembers that? All we see now is a first down at the 15-yard line.
And again, for Lego My Flag, it is a tough break for Hovington to make that look a bunch of yards over there. But again, when Kwesi Gordon made that pick 6, it was inside their own 10. So it has to play aggressive defense at this point of the game. So they've done it once. It's possible for them to do it again.
And this is where the windows start getting smaller, right? There's less and less field, more defenders for less field. Marie-Joëlle Vandal running an in. Colin Leduc also running a drag, outstretching the ball. A 6-yard pickup tackle made by Lara, but not before a hefty pickup on first down.
The first 2 reads from Marc-Andre Reeves were kept in touch by Lego My Flag defense, but unfortunately for them, Coralie Leduc was able to run a deeper, short in there with the time of the fact that there is a miss. They are missing a player there, which allowed her to have open space and to get some yards.
Yeah, you'd love to see Zalipski just get there a second quicker, right? If he was able to get in a passing lane, make that sack, then that 3rd or 4th read would no longer be there. And in this kind of game, you need that from your rusher. 2nd down, 2nd and short. Zalipski barreling in, makes Hovington flush, finds Vandal open, reaches over Kwesi's shoulder. That's enough for a first down, not enough for a touchdown. We're now in the red zone. What's so hard now is defending 5 players, is defending your 5 receivers with only 4 defenders in coverage. What are you dialing up to try to bait a pick this close to the goal line?
And they've been doing before with this, honestly, leaving a receiver open in anticipation that Reeves will look at the open receiver and jump the play. Like, that's the best thing they can really do to get a pick at this point, because if you're playing man or playing a person
it looks like they
tough.
might be leaving Sarah Maud open at the back. Instead, it's towards Marie-Joëlle Vandal with the touchdown. Very nice of Jérôme Hovington to share his touchdowns. Vandal comes up with 6 and stretches the lead back to 20 points.
Yeah, great concept there. And like you mentioned earlier, leaving Sarah Maud open, you're just anticipating that Reeves won't find the only open person if you are Lego My Flag. But for him, it was too easy than finding
Marie-Joëlle Vandal. Yeah. A fantastic receiver, savvy, despite not a huge amount of flag experience, as opposed to other players who've been playing since they're young, knows to reach the ball, stretches it over the goal line. Good for the touchdown. Now going for 2, as this team loves to do, firing the corner towards Coralie Leduc, but not before Lara's able to get a hand on that. That's a fantastic play. Sitting on the first cone, hips with Marie-Joëlle Vandal, then opens up and can still have time to get to the corner. That's the speed of Lara Zocoria on display right there.
Yeah, great play by Lara right there. And again, down by 20. So again, it's not over. They need to score to keep it to the key number of 14.
They need a score, they need a stop, they need an onside kick, and they need 2 points, and then they need to win in overtime. That is the formula to victory for Lego My Flag. Instead, pass complete to Sanders Armand, just getting past the outstretched tips of Jérôme Hovington. He thought he had the pick, but Sanders snatched it away from him.
Yeah, Hovington was eyeing for another pick there on Sanders, but that's the gamble you take. You try to get a pick there, and what happens? You let up an extra 15 yards there. So credits to Sanders for moving the ball up, especially on a tight window there. And again, they're in range of scoring. They just have to keep it up and limit any turnovers that they could cause.
At the same time, for Jérôme, you realize that a pick ends the game, so it's a very tempting proposition. Passes fire towards Kwesi, tries to make Victor miss. Victor instead grabs both flags, hands them back to Kwesi. After a 7-yard gain, we are now inside the red zone. Not that I think Jeff was considering running this.
Yeah, no. Like I was talking with Brent on Jeff's last game in Division B. We would love to see Jeff Rosenblatt run, but unfortunately, we don't think we're going to get it.
I would love to see it. I'm not sure it's going to happen. Firing towards Sanders. Oh, a slight miscommunication there. Jeff saw a hole at the back of the end zone. Sanders continued his route, which brought him into the territory of Jérôme. Had he halted that route, right behind the slot defender. He had 6 points.
Yeah, that was a tough break for them because Sanders was open. And again, it's tough as a receiver to once when you're running your route and then you don't realize that you're actually more wide open than you think. And so if Sanders did sit, like you mentioned, that was an easy touchdown.
Because as a receiver, you don't have the same perspective as a quarterback or as us from the roof who sees the entire field. You're very much tunneled vision into your hole. Kwesi reaching over the goal line. The ref is pointing towards the 1 yard line. And the refs are going to communicate. The debate here is this a touchdown or not? For me, it smelled like a touchdown. They're going to discuss.
Yeah, we can see on the replay here if it even is worthy of a challenge.
Pass is complete to Kwesi. Catches the ball, reaches over the cone. That looks like a touchdown to me.
Yeah, it looks very close, but I don't know what the angle, if they're going to get enough evidence there to overturn it because the call was a 4th down.
The call on the field is a touchdown.
Oh.
Leo overruled the other official, called touchdown. He saw the reach from his perspective and was confident giving up the touchdown. We now have the Merge who are going to challenge.
Oh, no, onside.
Nope. So I'm not sure I love going for the onside kick here. It's the same debate you have when you're watching the NFL, and do you want it? Let's imagine you're down 15 points. Do you go for the 2-point conversion on your first touchdown or your second?
I would say the second because just for the fact that, like, if you don't convert this now, it's basically you know that it's game over. Whereas, yes, you drain the clock if you are on defense, if you decide not to go for the onside, but you have more of control in that sense in terms of not it being one play. This play is basically one play.
This play is the ball game.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no other way back into it. It consumes a timeout. This is their only way back in the ball game, but on top of needing the onside kick, where if you're a good team, you're converting at 25%, you also need a stop. It just feels like you're stacking factors against you. But here we go. Onside kick and ball game coming up. Paul Lapierre drops the second quarterback. Jeff Rosenblatt throws it deep towards Kwesi. It's picked off by Jérôme, who's dancing down the sideline. He makes a man miss. He gets around Jeff, and it's a pick 6 on the onside kick. Jérôme has put his stamp on this game. If you can hear me, please give that man his MVP award.
That is touchdown number 5, pick 6 number 2. What a complete game from Jerome Hovington. Like you said, icing it for the Merge for a title in Co-Ed 1 with his 5th touchdown. What a great performance.
Simply been dominant in every single aspect of the game. He has showed his speed. He has shown his contested catch ability. He's shown his abilities to read the play as a defender. This is someone who entered the league relatively recently. I remember when he played his first season with Iggy and myself back in the day, and has very quickly established himself as one of the top players. And more than that, someone who's played with Jeff a ton and probably knows his playbook.
Yeah, that is the advantage of being someone that has played across the quarterback you're against. And picking off Rosenblatt twice for pick 6s, that must be good for Hovington.
1-point conversion attempt coming here. Victor Boutin has dropped that one. I know Victor, that is not something he would like to drop. He prides himself on being a safe-handed, reliable snapper and believes he should catch 100% of the balls he touches. He might think about that one for a few minutes, but I'm sure that memory will be quickly wiped away when they're holding the championship banner. And this is Reeves and Victor going for their second championship of the day after already winning the title in intermediate 5v5.
Again, even if it's their second championship of the day, winning a championship is always great.
It's always a great feeling. It's a season coming to fruition. Here we're looking deep. Rosenblatt to Sarah Berbiche for a touchdown. However, here's what I think we're going to go back to what we saw before. If Rosenblatt got the ball and then threw that touchdown pass after getting a stop on defense, you're making the Merge sweat, right?
Yes, 100%.
Whereas right now, yes, it's a great play. It's a little bit of stat padding, but it is simultaneously too little, too late. They need 2 stops and 2 touchdowns, and simply put, the Merge can knee this game out when they'll get the ball back with 2 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, and that's the risk of doing the onside that early. And again, they felt that that was basically their win now moment, and unfortunately for them, it didn't work out. It was great for Sarah Berbiche to get that touchdown, but again, like you said, a little too late at this point.
Too little, too late. Nonetheless, a 2-point convert for show coming up. Rosenblatt looking towards the back of the end zone towards Sanders Arma, who makes a spectacular catch over the head of Hovington, showing off why he's such a great receiver. It looked out of bounds, but he clearly got those tippy toes in just in time to tap for 2.
Yeah, Rosenblatt waited for Sanders to go across field there, and yeah, I thought initially he bobbled it, but it looked like if he did catch it with 2 hands, he never lost control, then yeah, I could see it being his foot getting inbounds.
Simultaneously, not worth the challenge.
Yeah, not at this point. You're up by
You're up by 12. You're up by 12. The other team has already used their onside kick, which means you will touch this football 8 more times. Lego My Flag has 1 timeout, which means you can take 7 knees for 25 seconds each. Comes to over a minute and 47 seconds. They do not need to throw this ball. They are already your Co-Ed 1 champions.
Exactly.
Unless of a catastrophic mistake.
Yeah, and I think with the high caliber competition on Co-Ed 1, they know the stakes of it, and they're not going to do anything risky to prevent that from happening.
So let's turn our attention now towards the fall season. The Merge have been a dominant force in co-ed since entering a few seasons ago. Keon, you know the league. Are there any teams in co-ed 1 who can start rivaling the Merge for the supremacy they've established? Who's coming for their title?
So obviously the team, the IG team that's been a staple, a top contender in these 6v6 co-ed divisions, but we have to stop on that for a second.
Sarah Maud making a great touchdown catch there, tiptoeing around Sanders Armand, tipping the ball over him, and then catch it on the other side. If you're wondering how Sarah Maud can beat Sanders Armand in the air, that's how.
Exactly. That is exhibit a great catch by Sarah Maud. And
there you have it. Game is over. Lucky's jumping in the air, and the Merge are your co-ed 1 champions. They're going off to shake hands now. And so I'd agree with what you're saying about the IG team. However, I've got some news for you. The IG team will not be playing Co-Ed 1 in the fall, and rather Jeans Liadixi will be playing with Kiss My End Zone in the fall, which should be, I'm on that team as well, hopefully an interesting challenge.
Yeah, no, for sure. Your Kiss My End Zone, Kiss My is that franchise in itself. You guys have had very much good success in co-ed especially, so I would expect you guys to actually put up a really good fight against the Merge. It'll be a tough, tall ask, but you guys have the talent and experience.
And the Merge are a fantastic team. I think what's given them so much success is this core of female players. And yes, I'm not taking anything away from someone like Jérôme, who, yes, scored 5 touchdowns today, and I very much expect to win the MVP award. But where they're able to dominate in the co-ed division is the caliber of their female players. I believe that female players either at high university levels or when they've made Team Canada, who used to make up a significant portion of co-ed 1, their coaches are now asking them not to play co-ed due to the risk of injury, simply because you're playing against players who are larger, who are heavier, who are moving faster, which makes sense. So this core on the Merge is the very best female caliber who are able to play co-ed, and that's what makes it so hard to compete with this team, because when their girls are isolated one-on-one, they win.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And plus the fact that the Merge team they are fairly new together, but they have been playing outside of FPF together in tournaments. So it gives the experience and the chemistry that they have, especially with the women playing with the team that they have with Victor
Boutin. And I think this is actually, I could be wrong, this is a team which has come from FFT and Terrebonne, so they gained experience over there, and I think went looking for a bit of a higher caliber and a bit more competition, and then came to co-ed 1 being like, okay, this is the pinnacle of co-ed play, and have been dominating at every single level.
Yeah, 100%. And getting the co-ed 1 title for them is a great feat in them, and coming into the fall with another co-ed in co-ed 1, the aspirations to win another championship is very much on the horizon for them. I'm wondering what teams are going to be up there competing with them to win it. Like you said, Kiss My Ace is coming back, right?
Yeah, and I think this Lego My Flag team is also an extraordinarily solid squad. You have to realize they still scored 20-some-odd points or 30 points with just 5 players. Mm-hmm. How different would this game have been if they were full strength?
I think it would have been closer early on, but again, the Merge has the chemistry to hold it down and be more clutch when it comes down to it. I think it would have been more closer throughout most of the game, but I felt like the Merge would have brought it to a victory for them.
I think the Merge were still your favorites. We're just a few moments away now of heading down to field level. We're going to present the trophy, the MVP awards. Let's turn our attention down to the field level and Mo Khan.
All right, welcome back. Here is post-game time. It is now time to present the co-ed 1 division. Oh my goodness, I said this wrong. Co-ed 1 finals here as Merge is victorious here. Salut les gang, félicitations, les champions deuxième fois. C'est la deuxième fois Le Merge. Félicitations, guys. Yo, trophy time, bro. What's wrong with you?
Say the thing, man.
Voilà. Voilà. And notre ca-
Ouais, mais c'est ça.
Mais
Moi,
c'est-
je suis
c'est
comme
pas
Kevin
fa-
Durant, fallait que je Ben Wagon.
Kevin Durant. Mais c'est pas facile pour gagner une
Join les
deuxième fois,
Warriors.
mais l'équipe, belle saison pour l'équipe.
Ouais, ben je veux surtout shout-out les filles. Là. Je pense que ça a été la grosse différence pour nous cette année. Là. Les filles, pour moi, c'est la meilleure équipe de filles dans la division. Puis je pense que c'est vraiment ça qui nous a différencié des autres équipes cette année.
C'est qui les meilleures filles dans l'équipe?
Les quatre. Les quatre. On les a. Hey, non, elles sont toutes excellentes. On l'a vu aujourd'hui, on a toutes fait des gros plays, ils ont toutes été impliqués. Fait que je suis super content puis je suis super fier de tout le monde ici.
Vos QB, M. Reeves, est-ce que c'est les meilleurs QB? Pas en mix, mais toutes les FPF.
Je pense qu'il est pas loin. Il y a une couple de gars avant lui qui ont plus d'expérience, mais
C'est quoi? C'est le deuxième niveau, puis le plus haut niveau, c'est l'autre
Ben
QB?
là, on va pas rentrer dans une discussion ce qui est manqueur de la ligue, là, mais il s'en vient puis ça sera pas bien long que ça va être dans les tops. Là. Ça sera vraiment pas long.
Félicitations, merci, bonne soirée, et l'année prochaine.
Merci beaucoup, Mo. Prends soin de toi.
Hey, l'autre chose, guys. Dernière chose, un autre cadeau. Voilà. Félicitations, guys. And there you go. Co-ed 1 Champions Merge. Back to you guys.
And there you have it. The Merge are your Co-Ed 1 champions for the spring 2025 season, defeating Lego My Flag. And this is Marc-André Reeves' second championship on the day. Would you say he is the number one up-and-coming quarterback in FPF at the moment?
100%. He's been playing great. I actually had the opportunity of rushing against him when he was on Knights 2.0, when they made that ridiculous Cinderella run. And when I saw him play, I'm like, that's a quarterback that he's going to be playing a lot more higher divisions as the years come.
I haven't seen him look out of place yet. He's been climbing the divisions, and he's never looked uncomfortable. He's always looked like he has the ability to beat the rush of his legs, beat the defense of his mind, and then worst case scenario, he can rely on fantastic arm talent to fit the ball into a tight window. He can win so many different ways. He's definitely a quarterback to keep your eyes on in the future.
Yeah, for sure. If anyone is looking at quarterbacks that they're playing against and you see Marc-André Reeves, have to be ready on defense because he could beat you in so many ways with whether it is in a men's division or in a co-ed division. He has the talent on both sides.
And there you have it. I was Alexis Dubois in the booth alongside.
Keon Cyrus.
Coming to you with the finals of the Co-Ed 1 division. Stay tuned for more FPF action coming up next. 2 more games on the night.